Well, not surprisingly, one of the big issues at IBC 2019 was how we deliver streaming video content. And I'm delighted to welcome Lars Larsson, who's the CEO at Varnish Software, to talk about how we can improve that. So, hello, Lars.
Hello.
Now, it strikes me we're kind of reaching an inflection point with streaming. I mean, if you look at Disney Plus and direct-to-consumer sports leagues getting their own rights, and there are sports services who are gaining more and more exclusives. We know that demand is increasing. Do we need a step change in terms of the capacity and cost for streaming as well?
I think that's rather obvious to us as consumers, and also from our point of view, we can see quite a few of people we talk to struggle with delivering at peak and being able to deliver at the right quality, etc. So we see a lot of that, and I think there are a couple of things that has triggered this. I mean, first of all, we need to realize that the internet wasn't designed to be a broadcast network. But it's actually because we have seen CDN vendors doing a great job for the past decade of actually plumbing the internet and make it work. But now that we have reached a point where streaming is I mean, it's more than 80% of the traffic on the internet today. And content is getting heavier and heavier. We're talking about 4K and we have 8K down the road. It's rather obvious that we need to do something else.
Yeah. And you have some very advanced caching technology that will take the load off of origins and protect them against overload. So just tell us about that and how that works.
Yeah, so basically we're a caching technology. We started off as a web accelerator. The core of what we do is open source, currently powering around 4.8 million websites. So it's a proven technology, it's out there, people in the industry know about it. And going back 5-6 years, we were pushed by some big streaming companies to extend the product so we could deliver even more efficient streaming. So we have been doing that ever since, and the demand is growing. And you mentioned Origin Protect, that's very important, but we can also see companies using caching and Varnish caching also for a storage tier, and now more and more also for edge servers. So, and I think that's driven a lot because of the demand for low latency. You need to focus on having low latency in every single tier, and we're one of the technologies that can enable that.
Okay, and the applications that it can be used for is live and on demand?
Live and on demand, yes.
And also both the hot assets that are very popular, but you can give a very good experience on sort of deep cold storage as well.
Of course, yeah, we can do that. We have some technologies that makes that possible.
Okay, so that's for your typical kind of long tail VOD library, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, one of the notable innovations is in your massive storage engine, which is where you sort of have a wonderful sort of storage magic, if you like.
Yeah.
I mean, just tell us what you've done with that that's so good.
Yeah, so going back to the basic problem here is that we deliver from memory. That means that we typically send a reply in approximately 30 microseconds. Then we start sending the answer back to the client of the next tier. And that all comes from memory. Of course, memory has its limitations when it comes to size. So we have been working on an algorithm that makes it possible to also use secondary storage or disks to be able to extend that memory in a sort of virtual way. And that means that we, on a single server, can store up to 100 terabytes of data. And that usually, you can do a lot with that.
Okay, and it can be a very flexible configuration.
Of course, you can cluster these servers so you can have an endless amount of data that appears to be in cache and can be delivered instantly, more or less.
Okay, and in terms of data throughput, I know that you can support 100 gigabytes per second or gigabits per second, and that's a lot, more than anyone seems to be able to manage today. It sort of overloads even the best network cards right now. So why do we need that?
That's a very good question. I mean, we announced our ability to deliver 100 gigabit per second at IBC last year. And when we did that, we asked us the same question: who will need that? Probably a few big companies. We have 100 gigabit interfaces coming to the market. But ever since, we have actually been pushed by customers and potential customers to do more. They want to make sure that we have the architecture to go way beyond that. So we just recently reached 150, and we will be able to go further.
Okay.
For today's network, there will be people who absolutely need this, but looking down the road to 5G, there you absolutely need it. So that's what we're heading for.
Yeah, I mean, there are some astounding figures for 5G, how many clients can be supported in a cell and what they can handle. So, I mean, it's going to explode, isn't it?
Exactly, and again, speaking about low latency, 5G will give us a completely different user experience, and we like to be one of the technologies that can help deliver that to the consumers.
Okay, and I know that somebody could install this as a protection for their own origin. They can put it at the edge. They can use it with an existing CDN customer, and they can also use it for their own private CDN. Is that right?
Absolutely, and it's been I think it's been a trend for quite a long time that streaming companies now tend to take the hybrid approach of CDN. They don't go with one vendor, they go with several vendors. And also we've seen that quite a few of them start to deliver part of the traffic there themselves, so they can balance between the CDN operators and their own delivery. And I think that's really interesting because the customers that we talk to that have done this, they gain a lot of experience. They get to understand more of the behavior, and they can plan their capacity and deliver a higher quality of service.
So if your solution is deployed more widely, or very widely, what would be the impact on the industry as a whole, do you think?
We would have better quality, we'd have lower cost. I think also we would use less hardware, less servers, less energy to deliver more video experience, because we're quite efficient and we're able to provide the same amount of traffic or deliver the same volume with a much higher density. So there are several very good things down the road. Yes.
Okay, well, it's very noticeable how much sort of attention is focused back into the content delivery side for streaming at this IBC. So thank you very much for coming and talking about it.
Thank you.